Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is Explanation of Battle Through the Heavens episode number 157 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yang stood on the large body of the 9 serene deep-ground python. He looked at Yaohua Liangjun 4 men group in the distance. After which, he glanced at Hua Jin below, who was looking at him with ill intent. 4 6-star Dozuns. The ferocious reputation of the profound sky sect was really not earned in vain. Young Master Xiao Yang, what should we do? Qing Lin frowned slightly and asked because of this sudden situation. What else can we do? The profound sky sect has actually dispatched such a great force. I think that they are intending on capturing me. Xiao Yang smiled faintly. A bone-chilling coldness surged within his dark black eyes as he softly said, however, with just the 4 of you, you have really underestimated me quite greatly. Your tone is indeed quite arrogant. The strength of that fire lotus of yours might be great, but if the 4 of us join hands, we will be able to forcefully resist it. Without that kind of fire lotus attack, what can you be in the eyes of the 4 of us? Yaohua Liangjun laughed coldly. An arc was slowly lifted on Xiao Yang's face when he heard this. His hand seal changed before they suddenly stilled. Vast and mighty aura suddenly surged out from within Xiao Yang's body in all directions like a volcano. What you describe is the case 1 month ago. Majestic aura spread across the sky. Waves after waves of heat was quietly formed, causing the air of this place to swiftly become dry. 4-star Dozun. Yaohua Liangjuan's expression changed slightly when he sensed this aura of Xiao Yang. Although he had already obtained word of this from Hua Jin, the shock in his heart was still quite great now that he had seen it with his own eyes. Within a short 1 month, Xiao Yang's strength had rose by 2 stars. This training speed could be described by the word frightening. It should be known that if an ordinary Dozun was to train normally, it was likely that he would need to cultivate a decade or longer in order to obtain such an increase in his strength. Yet, this amount of time had been forcefully shrunk by many times in Xiao Yang's hands. The chi method that this brat practices is a little strange. If we capture him this time around, we can force him to tell me about the chi method. If I can obtain such a chi method, my achievements in the future will definitely be quite great. Even within the profound sky sect, there will be hardly anyone who can contend against me. Yaohua Liangjuan's eyes flickered slightly. A greed flashed across his eyes. A mere 4-star Dozun. You still do not possess the qualification to do as you please in the hands of the 4 of us. That grey-robed elder, who was leading the group, glanced at Xiao Yang with an indifferent gaze. He appeared a little impatient when he spoke until this point. He waved his sleeve and said, "This is the final time. Are you going to leave with us, or shall we beat you half to death and bring you with us? This skin of mine is a little thick. I shall choose the latter." Xiao Yang smilingly said. "You may." The expression of the grey-clothed elder was dark and dense. He nodded slowly before he suddenly stepped forward and spoke in a deep voice. "This brat is extremely cunning. Attack together and capture him first." Yaohua Liangjun and the 2 others nodded when they heard this. The former still had a deep memory of that fire lotus attack of Xiao Yang even until now. If he was alone, he would really not have the guts to attack. With the destructive force of that fire lotus, it was likely that he would lose his life immediately should he be careless. Young Master Xiao Yang, I will block one of them. That slut below shall be dealt with by the 9 serene deep-ground python. A solemnness surfaced on Qing Lin's face when she saw the other party beginning to act. This time around, the other party had come prepared. 4 6-star elite Dozuns. This kind of lineup was really quite strong. They were few in numbers. Should they be careless, it was likely that they would really end up dying in the most unexpected place today. After her voice sounded, a green light flashed within her jade-green eyes. Over a dozen figures surfaced in the sky in an orderly manner. Immediately, they rushed towards Hua Jin under Qing Lin's orders. This large group of human figures that had suddenly appeared and rushed over also gave Hua Jin a shock. However, after sensing that the strongest of this group was merely a 2-star Dozun, she finally sighed in relief. She spoke in disdain. "You actually dare to take out some lowly creatures to embarrass yourself." Qing Lin could not be bothered with Hua Jin's words. After having released all the experts that were sealed in her eyes, her face also became grave. Both of her hands formed numerous seals in a lightning-like fashion. Following the change in her seals, a fierce aura from the ancient times also slowly surged out from within her body. Upon sensing the ferocious aura that spread from within Qing Lin's body, Xiao Yang understood that she had already begun to use the spiritual strength of the ancient heaven serpent. Immediately, he waved his hand. 11 puppets appeared in a flash. Within the blink of an eye, it had formed a formation. Energy was transferred and it swiftly caused the dark gold color on the sky demon puppet to become increasingly deep. With Xiao Yang's current strength, he should be able to fight against 2 6-star Dozun after using the Skyfire 3 mysterious change. Qing Lin was currently only able to restrain 1 person. However, the other party still possessed 3 6-star Dozun. Hence, he could only summon the Sky Demon Puppet and temporarily fight. Although the Sky Demon Puppet could barely be able to fight with a 6-star Dozun with its strength, it should still be able to delay time. During the time that Xiao Yang summoned the Sky Demon Puppet, the ferocious aura of Qing Lin by the side also became increasingly rich. Fortunately, both of her eyes still retained their clarity. Clearly, with her current strength, she was already able to begin controlling the ancient Heaven Serpent soul. Young Master Xiao Yang, I will attack first. Qing Lin's body rushed out in a lightning-like fashion after her soft cry sounded. That ferociousness that permeated the sky also caused Yaohua Liangjuan's 4-men group to have a change in expression. It is unexpected that this little girl is also troublesome to deal with. Fourth brother, I'll leave it to you. That leading grey-robed elder glanced at Qing Lin, who was rushing over, with some surprise before he frowned and said, no problem. A somewhat skinny old man nodded with a shady face. Immediately, his body moved and he appeared in front of Qing Lin. He did not say anything else as his dark and cold Do Qi surged out from his palm. After which, it ruthlessly slammed towards Qing Lin. Qing Lin let out a cold snort when she saw this skinny old man attacking. She did not give in. Green light lingered within her jade-green eyes as she directly moved forward to meet him. Xiao Yang, I really want to see whether you can escape from the palm of my profound sky sect today. Remember the name of this elderly self, Shenlu Guizuan. The eyes of the grey-robed old man were dense and cold. He led Yaohua Liangjun and the other expert from the profound sky sect and formed a ring shape, surrounding Xiao Yang in the process. Attack! The moment Xiao Yang was surrounded, that so-called Shenluo Guizuan's eyes revealed a ferocious expression. A cold cry sounded. 3 vast and mighty Do Qi surged out immediately. The 3 figures rushed over towards Xiao Yang with lightning-like speed. That ferocious attack directly caused the entire space to solidify. Go! Xiao Yang's back shook. That green-red bone wings were extended from it. His body swiftly pulled back. With a flick of his finger, that Sky Demon Puppet transformed into a golden light that blocked one of the expert from the profound sky sect. Skyfire 3 mysterious change. First change. Second change. Third change. The seals formed by Xiao Yang's hands changed as his body pulled back explosively. The Do Qi over his body continued to soar in that instant. Within a short moment, it had broken the 4-star level. A moment later, the strength of his aura was no longer inferior to that of Yaohua Liangjun. The Skyfire 3 mysterious change of the Burning Flame Valley. Shenluo Guizuan frowned when he saw Xiao Yang's aura soaring. He immediately laughed coldly, do not hold back. The Skyfire 3 mysterious change has a time limit. When the time's up, he will be unable to escape today. Understood. Yaohua Liangjuan's expression was dense and cold as he nodded. The foldable fan in his hand emitted a faint, unusual glow. His hand was raised before the fan fell. That foldable fan appeared to become extremely sharp blades that tore through the space and cut towards Xiao Yang's throat. Faced with Yaohua Liangjun's swift and ferocious attack, Xiao Yang merely tilted his head a little and narrowly dodged that sharp foldable fan. His right hand was clenched into a fist before ruthlessly smashing furiously onto Yaohua Liangjuan's head. Yaohua Liangjun naturally did not dare to underestimate Xiao Yang's current strength. After having used the Skyfire 3 mysterious change, Xiao Yang's strength was not any inferior to him. Adding the might of the heavenly flame, there was even a sign of it having surpassed him in a head-on battle. Bang! A cautious thought flashed across Yaohua Liangjuan's heart. He flipped his wrist and the foldable fan in his hand was completely opened with a ripping sound. After which, it blocked in front of him and forcefully received this punch by Xiao Yang. The punch landed on the foldable fan. That purple-brown flame that contained a dense whiteness suddenly surged out from Xiao Yang's palm. After which, it lingered over the foldable fan in a ferocious manner and swiftly spread over Yaohua Liangjuan's body. The flame spread and the sleeve of Yaohua Liangjun turned into ashes in an instant. However, his reaction was also quite quick. When the flame spread over, his vast and mighty Do Qi erupted from within his body and surged explosively towards the flame with the intention of extinguishing all of them. However, a strange scene appeared when the Do Qi touched the flame. One could see that those Do Qi that came into contact with the flame would turn into substance like ice crystals in an instant. Hence, within a short moment, Yaohua Liangjuan's arm was covered by a thick layer of ice crystal in front of his shocked eyes. What a strange heavenly flame! This unexpected change caused Yaohua Liangjuan's expression to change drastically. His body pulled back hurriedly. Compared to a month ago, the heavenly flame of Xiao Yang seemed to have become even more powerful and mysterious. Xiao Yang was just about to give chase after having forced back Yaohua Liangjun with one attack when an elderly figure flashed and appeared in front of him. His shady face contained traces of dense coldness. A dark black large hand directly penetrated through the space like a ghost claw, carrying a kind of dangerous feeling as it grabbed towards Xiao Yang's head with lightning-like speed. Try and receive a 9-hell hand from this old me. Xiao Yang did not give in as he sensed the dense cold wind that spread from the large dark black hand. He coldly laughed. Do you think that I am afraid of you, old ghost, in a one-on-one battle? After his cry sounded, a flame hurriedly gathered on his palm. After which, he suddenly threw a punch forward. It heavily collided with Shenluo Guizuan's large dark black hand. Octane blast. The wind around the fist suddenly became sharp as it violently collided with the large dark black hand. A shocking noise abruptly rang out. A rippling force also rapidly spread. The surrounding space gradually became distorted. The fist and palm collided, and a strong wind erupted in a circular shape. Xiao Yang and Shenluo Guizuan's bodies trembled. Their feet took a couple of steps back. With Xiao Yang's current strength and the Skyfire 3 mysterious flame, he possessed the strength to exchange blows with a 6-star Dozun. Moreover, the Flame Mantra Qi method had evolved into a Tian-class Qi method. Do Qi surged over when it was circulated. He did not need to worry about being exhausted to death should the other party take turns attacking. Not bad. You do indeed possess some ability. Surprise flashed across Shenluo Guizuan's eyes since his palm ended up in a draw with Xiao Yang's fist. His eyes slide to Yaohua Liangjun. At this moment, Yaohua Liangjun was rapidly resolving the flames around him. Although he appeared a little miserable, the flames did not cause him much harm. The strength of a 6-star Dozun was not merely for show. While Shenluo Guizuan was pulling back, Xiao Yang's eyes swept around him. Qing Lin's battle in the distance was progressing well. With the strangeness of the triple jade-green snake flower pupil and the help of the ancient heaven serpent soul, that expert from the profound sky deck was unable to do anything to her within this short amount of time. However, the other two battlegrounds were not looking good. Even after having experienced the strengthening by the formation, the Sky Demon puppet could only fight against a 4-star Dozun. That elder from the profound sky sect was a 6-star Dozun. The Sky Demon puppet was naturally at a disadvantage while exchanging blows with him. If its body could feel pain and wasn't extremely hard, it was likely that it would have turned into a pile of mud. Even though this was the case, sparks continued to sputter away from the Sky Demon puppet's body because of that fellow. Dents were starting to appear all over its hard body. While the Sky Demon puppet had fallen to a disadvantage, the many experts controlled by Qing Lin were also not facing a good situation. Although there were many of them, their strengths were all much weaker than Hua Jin. If there weren't 2 Dozun experts of the 2nd star blocking her, it was likely that the others would have already been finished off by her rising and falling blade. From the looks of the situation, they were clearly unable to endure much longer. Xiao Yang's eyes swiftly flicked over these battlegrounds. His brows involuntarily knit. The situation this time around was indeed a little troublesome. These fellows from the profound sky sect were not as easy to deal with as he had imagined. Brat, at this moment, you should take care of yourself first. A cold laugh was let out in front of Xiao Yang while he was frowning. He raised his head, only to see Shenluo Guizuan and Yaohua Liangjun rushing over at the same time. Majestic Do Qi lingered over their bodies. Their murderous intent clearly indicated that they were beginning to attack together. Xiao Yang let out a long breath. His expression regained its calmness. A vast and mighty Do Qi swiftly rotated within his veins. A frightening strength that could destroy mountains and rivers rapidly circulated within his muscles. Attack! Shenluo Guizuan's expression turned chilly as he cried out in a cold voice. Both Yaohua Liangjun and him rushed over at the same time. 2 unusually ferocious Do Qi pillars cut through the air. They were accompanied by a deafening roar as they explosively rushed towards Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang's expression was grave as he faced the combined attack. He clenched both of his hands. The purple-brown flames in his palms contained hints of a dense whiteness as they explosively surged out. After which, they formed into 2 large fire hands and forcefully collided with the Do Qi pillars. An earth-shaking explosion erupted. Do Qi slowly expanded across the sky. Its might caused the space to form a distorted illusory form. Looking from a distance, it appeared as though there was a mirage above the forest. 9 Hell Hand. Evil Wind Tear. Shenluo Guizuan and Yaohua Liangjun joined hands. Numerous incomparably ferocious Do Qi attacks continuously poured out. They wildly flew towards Xiao Yang. It was obvious that the two intended to rely on their numbers to forcefully grind Xiao Yang to death. Flame-splitting tsunami. Open mountain seal. Xiao Yang's expression was grave when he faced These's 2 crazy attacks, but powerful Do Qi was unleashed as he pleased. He then randomly attacked and collided with the attacks of the duo. Bang! The sky had become extremely excited because of this incomparably intense battle. Bright, beautiful energies exploded apart like fireworks. The explosive sounds of energy colliding made themselves known. One could even vaguely sense the energy ripples within a 50-kilometer radius. Seeing Xiao Yang grow fiercer the more he fought, Shenluo Guizhuan started to frown in a tight manner. Such a prolonged battle had exhausted their do qi by a frightening extent. The two of them felt that the do qi within their bodies had been greatly reduced. However, Xiao Yang did not show any signs of weakening and instead appeared to be full of energy. Yaohua! Shenluo Guizhuan suddenly cried out after gently inhaling a breath of air. Upon hearing his cry, Yaohua Liangjun slightly nodded. The aura all over his body suddenly changed. An extremely rich killing desire slowly spread from both their bodies. Xiao Yang frowned upon sensing their killing auras, which had suddenly turned demon-like. This kind of feeling was not foreign to him. The old me shall see how much you can endure today. The murderous auras swiftly spread. Shenluo Guizhuan's eyes suddenly widened. He sharply cried out, "Heaven-offering demon hand." A substance-like killing fog billowed from their bodies after his cry sounded. The fog formed a cluster of dark clouds in front of them. The dark cloud moved and a 100-meter-large dark black hand suddenly rushed out. After which, it reached toward Xiao Yang. The dark black large hand was filled with a murderous aura that caused one's heart to chill. This kind of desire to kill was formed from the will of the duo. If this hand were to strike Xiao Yang, it would definitely damage his resolve. The heaven-offering demon hand her. Xiao Yang merely laughed as he studied the enormous hand that grabbed at him from all directions. His body trembled. A similar wave of sharp killing desire surged out of his body in a lightning-like fashion. Within a short instant, another dark black hand rapidly formed in front of shocked eyes. After which, the hand rushed over and violently collided with the large hand. Bang! The two collided. However, no loud explosions appeared, only a slight muffled sound could be heard. The murderous intent widely spread. Shenluo Guizhuan's and Yaohua Liangjuan's breathing became heavier once they were infected by this murderous aura. The two auras began to erode each other after they collided. After which, they slowly scattered. The desire to kill suddenly dispersed. 3 pale-looking people appeared within it. You actually know one of the ultimate and most guarded sect skills of my profound sky sect, the heaven-offering demon hand? Shenluo Guizhuan's expression was full of disbelief as he stared at Xiao Yang. That do skill that Xiao Yang had used earlier was obviously the same as theirs. Xiao Yang ignored the stern cry. The heaven-offering demon hand was something he had obtained from the hands of Yi Chen of the profound sky sect. Xiao Yang had frequently practiced it after obtaining it. However, this was the first time that he had used it. The effect he had obtained appeared not bad. Do not give him the opportunity to relax. He has also been exhausted. Yaohua Liangjuan's expression was a little ugly as he yelled in a deep voice. Shenluo Guizhuan slightly nodded. He was just about to attack when he saw a strange smile suddenly lift onto Xiao Yang's face. Xiao Yang then slowly parted his hand. The two of them suddenly sensed the natural energy around them start to boil like water. Wave after wave of substance-like energy continuously rushed toward Xiao Yang's body. With the support of this vast and mighty energy, the paleness on Xiao Yang's face slowly disappeared. This is Tian class Qi method. Shenluo Guizhuan's group was immediately dull when they witnessed this scene. With their experience, they were naturally aware that this act of plundering energy was something that could only be achieved by a legendary Tian class Qi method. No wonder the two of us are unable to exhaust him no matter how we fight. This fellow has the support of a Tian class Qi method. The mouths of the duo twitched. By possessing the support of a Tian class Qi method, Xiao Yang's do qi was basically endless. The two of them, on the other hand, would experience a time when their do qi was exhausted. Just how were they going to fight such a battle? Xiao Yang's eyes were slowly opened while the two were shocked. He sensed that his body was filled with a lot more do qi, causing him to involuntarily smiled. He mockingly asked the other two, again? Shenluo Guizhuan's expression became gloomy when he saw the way Xiao Yang acted. He said, "You should not act so pleased. Our profound sky sect is not the only one interested in you." After uttering these words, Shenluo Guizhuan's eyes landed on the forest below. He cried out, "If you do not attack, this brat will end up escaping again. Ha ha, Elder Shenluo, please be reassured that he will not be able to run. I was afraid that he possesses a spatial jade that Yarrow Chen made him. Therefore, I sealed this space first." Shenluo Guizhuan's cry had just sounded when a faint laugh rang out. The sky became slightly distorted and a figure slowly appeared. Xiao Yang's heart sank when he saw the familiar figure that appeared in the sky. Ninth Tianzuan, even you have come. Space distorted as a figure slowly appeared. The figure had blue hair and wore blue robes. This figure was the Ninth Tianzuan, the person who had led the experts from the Hall of Soul to the Falling Star Pavilion back then. Xiao Yang remembered this person well. If Yarrow Laro had not advanced to a Ban Sheng, the Falling Star Pavilion would have ended up with great losses during that attack. It is unexpected that even this person has come. Xiao Yang's eyes slightly flickered. From the looks of the situation, it seemed that the Hall of Souls and the profound sky sect showed signs of ganging up. This discovery caused him to feel deflated a little. The profound sky sect might not be comparable to the Hall of Souls, but it was still a strong faction. Should these two parties cooperate, a great pressure would fall on the Falling Star Pavilion. Xiao Yang, you are really quite bold. If you had remained within the Falling Star Pavilion, this one wouldn't have been able to do anything to you. It is unexpected that you actually dare to come running out alone. Ninth Tianzuan smiled as he looked at Xiao Yang and faintly commented on the situation. Xiao Yang's expression was gloomy. However, he did not say anything. Some thoughts rotated within his heart. The strength of this Ninth Tianzuan was at least at the 7th to 8th star level. Even after Xiao Yang had unleashed the Skyfire 3 mysterious flame, he would not be able to fight against him. Moreover, from what he had said earlier, this space had been sealed by him. Hence, the spatial jade token that teacher had given him had also lost its effect. Xiao Yang gently exhaled within his heart. He did not expect the situation to become so dangerous. However, his current strength had soared. Hence, he did not truly feel a despair. With the Annihilation Fire Lotus and the Great Heaven Creation Palm, he believed that even this Ninth Tianzuan would have some trouble forcefully receiving them. Moreover, the Flame Mantra Chi method had evolved to a Tian-class Chi method. He would not need to worry about entering a weakened state after using the Annihilation Fire Lotus. Brat, you should just surrender. Do you really think that you will be able to escape the hands of the three of us with just your strength alone? Shenluo Guizuan spoke in a sinister manner. Yaohua Liangjun gently waved the foldable fan in his hand. He looked at the gloomy Xiao Yang and an additional caution quietly appeared within his heart. He had exchanged blows with Xiao Yang back then and naturally understood the great strength of that Annihilation Fire Lotus. Currently, this fellow was being forced to a dead end. Should he become hot-headed and go all out, it was likely that he would fight until everyone suffered. That may not be certain. Xiao Yang coldly laughed. He rotated his right hand and a faint golden light appeared on his palm. Do Qi whistled within his body at this moment. Xiao Yang, don't you wish to rescue your father? The Ninth Tianzuan narrowed both of his eyes when he saw the golden light in Xiao Yang's palm. He had personally witnessed Xiao Yang unleash the Great Heaven Creation Palm. Even old ghost Zhai Xing was killed on the spot. Thus, he feared this attack. He suddenly cried out when he saw that Xiao Yang wanted to use it. The golden light on Xiao Yang's palm became sluggish when he heard the cold cry of the Ninth Tianzuan. Xiao Yang glared at him. Follow this seat back to the Hall of Souls and you will be able to meet your father. If you dare to resist, this seat will kill your father after returning. The Ninth Tianzuan spoke with a cold and indifferent face. Xiao Yang's eyes were dark and cold as he stared at the Ninth Tianzuan. A moment later, he laughed. His tone was calm as he replied, to think that you are actually the Ninth Tianzuan of the Hall of Souls. You even try to use such a foolish tactic. I am not a fool. Only by living properly outside will I truly be able to rescue my father. Once I land in your hands, my Xiao clan will truly be finished. Therefore, this threat of yours is useless against me. The Ninth Tianzuan's eyes became gloomy when they registered Xiao Yang's calm face. He did not expect Xiao Yang to act this way. Of course, it was just as Xiao Yang had said. As long as he was alive, he would be able to rescue Xiao Zhon. However, once Xiao Yang landed in the hands of the Hall of Souls, this slight chance would disappear. This kind of reasoning was not complicated. A person who valued relationships enough to travel a great distance from the Jiomar Empire to the Central Plains in order to rescue another possessed a high level of reasoning and was able to accept certain choices. Ninth Tianzuan, this brat is as cunning as a fox. He will not fall for this trick of yours. Attacking together and capturing him is the right path. Yaohua Liangjun responded. The Ninth Tianzuan's expression was indifferent as he nodded. He gently took a step forward. The space in front of him became distorted as his body disappeared almost instantly. The next moment, he appeared in front of Xiao Yang in a ghost-like manner. His 5 fingers formed a claw shape and carried a sharp wind as they grabbed at Xiao Yang's throat. The space crumbled wherever the wind from the claw passed. In that case, this seat shall personally act and capture you back. Xiao Yang was expressionless when faced with the sharp wind that suddenly attacked. A faint golden light lingered over his right hand as his fist was thrown heavily. Bang! 2 clusters of wind met in the air. A deep explosion suddenly spread apart. The wind ripples spread in a circular fashion, tearing at the surrounding space until numerous dark black lines appeared. Xiao Yang's body trembled when the two collided. His feet staggered over a dozen steps back. Only then did he stabilize his body. He lifted his somewhat numb right hand as the solemn expression in his eyes became even denser. After these exchanges, he completely understood the strength of this Ninth Tianzuan. The Ninth Tianzuan was at the peak of the 7-star level. Only 1 step more and he would reach the 8-star level. Fortunately, my right hand had been tempered by the Golden Spirit. Otherwise, some injuries would definitely have occurred during this collision. Xiao Yang's eyes flickered. The peak of the 7th star was too strong. He could barely deal with an attack even at his current strength. If he did not use the Great Heaven Creation Palm or the Annihilation Fire Lotus, it would be impossible for him to put up a fight. 9th Tianzuan, do not give this brat any time to rest. He practices a Tian-class Qi method and is able to recover very quickly. If things drag on like this, something unexpected might happen. Shenluo Guzuan and Yaohua Liangjun came over in a flash after watching the 9th Tianzuan reveal his great might to force Xiaoyang back. Shenluo Guzan let out a loud cry and the two attacked together. Incomparably ferocious Do Qi pillars violently rushed towards Xiaoyang without giving him any time to rest. Being able to get all three of us to attack together, Xiaoyang, you can be considered someone who is thought highly by us. The 9th Tianzuan did not oppose Shenluo Guizuan's suggestion. His mission was to capture Xiaoyang. The mission from last time had failed, which displeased the hall chief. This time around, he had come out on his own accord. If he could capture Xiaoyang, he would have made up for his failure. Hence, he could not bother about the way this looked. Everything could be discussed after capturing Xiaoyang. The 9th Tianzuan did not continue to hesitate after this thought flashed through his heart. His body moved, and he once again rushed forward. A majestic Do Qi surged in all directions when he lifted his hand. Its might caused even the sky to tremble. Bang! The surging energy in the sky continued to explode. Faced with the attacks of 2 6-star Dozuns and 1 7-star Dozun, even Xiaoyang was in a dangerous situation. If he did not have the help of his speed and the might of his heavenly flames, he would have been seriously injured by these three. Nevertheless, as the battle became white-hot, the situation became worse and worse for him. Bang! Xiaoyang was once again forced to collide with the palm of the 9th Tianzuan. After which, the bone wings behind his body swiftly flapped and 2 after-images appeared. Only then did he narrowly dodge the sneak attacks made by Yaohua Liangjun and Shenluo Guizuan. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he withdrew from the area surrounded by those three. Xiaoyang's expression turned dark and dense after having pulled back. A golden light surged on his right palm. Do Qi surged out of his body and poured into his palm. Be careful, he is about to use a Tian-class Do skill. The 9th Tianzuan's body suddenly came to an abrupt halt when he saw what Xiaoyang was doing. He informed them in a dense voice. The 9th Tianzuan's words startled Shenluo Guizuan and Yaohua Liangjun. They began to rapidly pull back. Great Heaven Creation Palm. Xiaoyang's expression was gloomy. The energy on his palm brightened. An instant later, a strange black glow appeared. His palm slammed toward the empty space below. A strange spherical black light immediately spread with lightning-like speed after his palm was pushed down. At the same time, an extremely strong suction force erupted from the spherical light. The 9th Tianzuan and the two others slowed after being influenced by the frightening suction force. They looked at the black light sphere that was rapidly expanding. The 9th Tianzuan's expression sank. He cried out, "Do not panic. A Tian-class Do skill might be powerful, but the three of us can still receive it if we join hands." The 9th Tianzuan's body was the first to turn after crying out. Do Qi surged out of his body without any restraint. The vast and mighty Do Qi caused tiny raindrops to slowly fall. Shenluo Guizuan and Yaohua Liangjun hesitated for a moment after seeing the 9th Tianzuan stop fleeing. They also clenched their teeth and summoned all the Do Qi within their bodies. In an instant, Do Qi whistled through the sky like a hurricane that brought about a whining sound. Do Qi surged explosively out of the bodies of the three of them. They formed 3 Do Qi pillars that were 1,000 feet large. The pillars lingered over the heads of the three of them and rotated once around. After which, they emitted a swoosh sound as they rushed over to collide with the black light circle. Bang! A couple of extremely frightening energies collided together. At this moment, even the sun became dim. A frightening energy storm expanded from the point of contact. The densely packed trees below appeared like harvested wheat. With a crushing sound, their trunks were broken in spectacular ways. The energy storm spread. That unmatchable black light sphere was forcefully prevented from spreading. However, the suction force within it remained terrifying. The 3,000-foot-long Do Qi pillars were swallowed into the empty black hole. Only then did the sphere slowly disappear. Seeing the black light sphere disappearing, Shenluo Guizuan and Yaohua Liangjun both heaved a sigh of relief. A horror was present in their eyes. If the 9th Tianzuan hadn't been here, just the two of them alone wouldn't have been able to contend with this frightening Do skill. The 9th Tianzuan's face was a little pale. Clearly, he was exhausted by this act. Fortunately, he had managed to block Xiaoyang's killing blow. Next, he slowly raised his head. His eyes were dense as he stared at Xiaoyang a short distance away and ferociously laughed. "Now, this seat shall see what other tactics you have." A cold smile also surfaced on Xiaoyang's face when he saw the 9th Tianzuan's ferocious smile. He clenched his hand and 4 types of heavenly flames appeared. "Relax, I will ensure that all of you will eat to your heart's content." The ferocious smile on the face of the ninth Tianzuan turned green when he saw the 4 types of heavenly flames in Xiao Yang's palm. Little brother Xiao Yang. I have finally found you. A spatial crack line suddenly split open while the ninth Tianzuan's face was green. Following the formation of the spatial crack, a strong figure anxiously stumbled out of it. He cleared his throat and wailed at Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang was startled when he saw this familiar figure. He chin a stunned voice, Hei Qing? The human figure that came out of the spatial crack had a burly build, with the back of a tiger and the waist of a bear. The figure emitted a rich, ferocious aura. His appearance surprisingly resembled the expert from the ancient Void Dragon tribe, whom Xiao Yang had met, Hei Qing. Old brother Hei Qing, why have you come? Xiao Yang was also startled as this human figure suddenly appeared. His tone was filled with surprise. I have come to look for you regarding some matters. Those old fellows from the tribe have dispatched me to find you. Damn it. Fortunately, Ziyang left a dragon seal on you. Otherwise, I really would have ended up looking for you until I died. Hei Qing looked at Xiao Yang as though he had found his savior. He hurriedly rushed over and heaved a great sigh of relief. Look for me. Xiao Yang knit his brows upon hearing this. What matter could lead an ancient void dragon to him? Could it be? Has something happened to Ziyang? Xiao Yang's eyes suddenly widened as he turned to Hei Qing and asked a question in a deep voice. She is not in trouble. However, there is something that requires your help. If you have the time, you should leave with me. Hei Qing rubbed his head as he spoke. Xiao Yang hesitated for a moment when he saw Hei Qing's somewhat grave expression. After which, he nodded. It seemed that the matter was quite a big one. Otherwise, it would not cause an expert like Hei Qing to be this frantic. Once I resolve the trouble here, I will take a trip with you. Is there some trouble? Hei Qing recovered only after hearing Xiao Yang's words. He turned his head, took a look, and continued in a stunned manner, It is that old soak Moyu from the Hall of Souls. Do you remember this Uncle Hei Qing? Hei Qing. The ninth Tianzuan was slightly startled. His expression was gloomy as he suddenly appeared to have remembered something. His expression changed a little as he exclaimed, You are Hei Qing from the ancient Void Dragon tribe? Is the name Hei Qing something that an old soak like you can say? With your position as the ninth, you do not possess the qualification to do so. Hei Qing wrapped his arms in front of his chest. He curled his mouth and did not give any face to the ninth Tianzuan. The ninth Tianzuan's face became extremely dark and gloomy when he heard Hei Qing's rude words. However, he did not reveal any fury because he clearly understood that this large man in front of him was an extremely troublesome fellow. Even he was no match for this person. This friend. This old self is an elder of the profound sky sect, Shenluo Guizuan. This Xiao Yang is a person that my profound sky sect intends to capture. I hope that this friend will not intervene. The ninth Tianzuan was aware of Hei Qing's background, but Shenluo Guizuan was not. After seeing Xiao Yang gradually fall into a disadvantage, how could they let him just flee? So Shenluo Guizuan cupped his hands together and spoke in a deep voice. Profound sky sect. What is this thing? Hei Qing knit his brows. He waved his hand somewhat impatiently and said, All of you should hurry up and get lost. I am looking for little brother Xiao Yang regarding some matters. Stop wasting this father's damn time. You. Shenluo Guizuan and Yarohua Liangzuan's expressions changed after hearing Hei Qing's vulgarities. They both furiously cried out, You dare to disrespect my profound sky sect? You are seeking death. After their loud cries sounded, the two of them stepped through empty space. Their bodies immediately rushed forward like lightning. Dark and cold Do Chi violently smashed toward Hei Qing without being held back. 2 6-star Do Zuns actually possessed the courage to scream in front of this father. Hei Qing laughed out of anger when he saw the two rushing over and advanced instead of pulling back. Both of his fists tightened and the muscles all over his body fluctuated in a strange manner. Finally, he sent his fists forward without any fancy attacks. Bang! 2 metal fists smashed out and formed 2 black spatial marks. The black spatial marks moved quickly before violently colliding with the duo. Just what is this fellow's origin? The bodies of Shenluo Guizuan's group trembled after the collision. Their expressions immediately turned pale. The frightening strength they faced, which seemed to be able to destroy everything, caused a terror to surge from deep within their hearts. The terror had just appeared when their throats filled with something sweet. They both spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Their bodies flew back like kites with their strings broken. They violently shot into the forest below, smashing into the ground and forming a 100-meter-deep pit. The powerful remnant force completely destroyed the large trees within a 100-meter radius. Hei Qing sent the two flying with a punch from each fist. After which, he patted his hands together. His face was filled with ridicule. His eyes, which contained some ill intent, glanced at the gloomy face of the ninth Tianzuan. He said, Mo Yu, are you going to get lost by yourself or shall this father do it for you? Hei Qing, you should not act so arrogantly. Xiao Yang is someone the hall chief wants to capture. Are you really going to protect him? Ninth Tianzuan coldly demanded. He Qing narrowed his eyes. He rubbed his hands together as he replied in a faint voice, this father doesn't care about all this. Those old fellows from the clan want me to find Xiao Yang. Since this father is here, everyone should forget about bringing him away. Crack. The fury within the eyes of the Ninth Tianzuan surged. Both of his hands slowly tightened and emitted cracking sounds. Frightening Do Qi slowly spread from his body. You wish to fight? All right, the old me also wishes to see if you have improved after so many years. He Qing coldly chuckled. His body became distorted. It emitted a muffled thunder-like bone explosion. Following the sound of these bones appearing, his body became even larger. An extremely powerful pressure was vaguely emitted from his strong body. The Ninth Tianzuan's eyes twitched involuntarily when he sensed the pressure. He inhaled a deep breath of air and suppressed the fury within his heart. He was aware that he was no match for He Qing with his strength. Even if he attacked, he would not gain an advantage. Moreover, the control over space that an ancient void dragon exhibited was something that no one could match. Even someone stronger than an ancient void dragon would find it difficult to defeat and successfully retain the other party. He Qing, I don't believe that you can protect this brat forever. The Ninth Tianzuan spoke in a dense tone. It is not up to you to be concerned about this. He Qing glanced at him and replied. The Ninth Tianzuan coldly snorted. His heart was filled with an unwillingness. It was unexpected that he had successfully avoided Yarrow Chen, but had ended up attracting someone from the ancient void dragon tribe. He did not expect Xiao Yang to have a relationship with this tribe. Since He Qing had shown himself, the Ninth Tianzuan understood that capturing Xiao Yang had become an impossible task. The Ninth Tianzuan could only clench his teeth when he thought of this. He stared at Xiao Yang viciously and said, Xiao Yang, you can't just hide forever. I do not believe that someone will always be there to rescue you. After uttering those words, the Ninth Tianzuan ceased to remain in this place. He turned around and was just about to leave when He Qing suddenly opened his mouth. Mo Yu, when you return, inform those people above you not to go against Xiao Yang and the members of the Xiao clan. The grudges between the Hun, Seoul, clan and the Xiao clan have ceased to exist by now. By going overboard, there will come a point in time where all of you will regret it. These words are not spoken by this father. They are spoken by those old fellows within the tribe. The Ninth Tianzuan narrowed his eyes when he heard He Qing's final sentence. He coldly laughed, it is pointless telling me this. No one will be able to stop my Hall of Souls from doing anything. The Jiyu clan cannot, and your ancient void dragon tribe also cannot. The Ninth Tianzuan's body shook after uttering these words. He transformed into a ray of light and disappeared into the horizon in the blink of an eye. He Qing gently rubbed his fist as he watched the Ninth Tianzuan's disappearing figure. His expression was cold. A moment later, he turned his head to look at Xiao Yang. He smiled and said, Little brother Xiao Yang, are you all right? I have troubled old brother to intervene again. Xiao Yang cupped his hands as he replied. It doesn't matter. This time around, my ancient void dragon tribe is going to have to trouble you. He Qing shook his head. He hesitated for a moment before continuing. You will become aware of the exact reason once you have come with me. If there is nothing else, can we leave now? This matter is of great importance. Nothing must go wrong. Seeing that even He Qing, who had a rough character, was acting with such seriousness, Xiao Yang's heart was solemn. Just what had caused the ancient void dragon tribe to become this anxious? Yes, however, can I bring my friend along? Xiao Yang pointed at Qing Lin a short distance away. When He Qing appeared, the elder from the profound sky sect, who had been entangled in a battle with Qing Lin, swiftly withdrew. He withdrew even quicker when he saw He Qing send Shenluo Guizuan's group flying with a punch. That fellow was so frightened that he dared not approach. Yes, it's fine. He Qing glanced at Qing Lin and nodded. Xiao Yang only sighed in relief after seeing a nod. It had only been a short while since the Ninth Tianzuan had left. He was worried about Qing Lin returning alone. It was naturally for the best that He Qing had agreed. While Xiao Yang sighed in relief, he waved his hand and returned the sky demon puppet, which had been beaten until thousands of scars and hundreds of holes had appeared on its body. He sighed quietly within his heart. The sky demon puppet, which had followed him for a long time, showed signs of becoming scrap. After Xiao Yang stored away the puppet, Qing Lin also returned her experts into her eyes, leaving a frightened Hua Jin standing in the sky. She showed her terror while she looked at He Qing. His might caused her to feel shocked. Young Master Xiao Yang, are we going to let this woman off? It's her fault we were intercepted this time around. Qing Lin softly inquired. There is no time. Xiao Yang glanced at the woman and shook his head. They were pressed for time and he was too lazy to personally teach this woman a lesson. Big brother He Qing, let's leave. Xiao Yang turned to look at He Qing as he spoke. Yes. He Qing nodded. His hand lifted through the air in front of him and tore a spatial crack. Xiao Yang and Qing Lin's bodies entered in a flash. Hua Jin sighed in relief when she saw Xiao Yang's group leaving. She uttered a string of vicious curses in her stomach. However, those curses had just appeared in her heart when He Qing, whose foot had just stepped toward the spatial crack line in the sky, paused. He waved his large hand without turning his head. Waves of frightening forces tore through space and landed on Hua Jin's body in an instant. An incomparably strong force caused Hua Jin to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. Her body violently smashed into a mountain. Large rocks rolled down and buried her deep underneath. Do not think that this father will not attack you just because you are a woman. He Qing swung his large hand after sending Hua Jin flying with a slap. He flashed closer to the spatial crack. With a kai sound, he entered it and disappeared with it. This video will end here.